صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. I first send my condolences to all of you today on the death of our Imam Ali ibn Musa al-Ridha, salawatullah wa salamuhu alayh. And of course, I send my condolences to you all on the death of our beloved Prophet, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. But I welcome you all to the first Imam Hussain poetry competition. And I would first like to brief you all a bit about this competition. So about 2 months ago, I was having a chat with al-Sadr, and we were speaking about the general wider community, and we were expressing the need for unlocking the talents within our community, within the Islamic world, that we have been left behind. We have been left behind severely within the creative arts, even within the public speaking world. We tend to address ourselves as opposed to address the wider audience. And so we set about thinking about ideas, and we both had in mind that we should begin to unlock the creative artistic talents to begin with. And so we said we'd start with a poetry competition. And it was in Muharram, so we said it would be very befitting to start with an Imam Hussain poetry competition. And I stress and I emphasize on the fact that within this day and age, until this point, we have been excellent at commemorating the message of Imam Hussain, but we have been very weak in spreading the message. And what I love about today, what's very nice for me, is that on a day of the death of Imam Ali ibn Musa al-Ridha, salawatullah wa salamuhu alayh, we are able to commemorate and spread the message at the same time. We are able to use our resources, and we are able to use the English language as a means of breaking that barrier that has since not been broken yet. And it's about time we began breaking it through the means of language to begin with. And as I said, to move forward within the creative arts as the next step, hopefully, to move forward and break the artistic barriers and break the cultural barriers within this country. It's about time we're in this country. Let us spread using the same language, the same culture, because we are here for a while and we have been here for a while. So it's about time we move forward. And so we set a 3-week deadline until 9th of December. And we said because it's the first of its kind, we allowed a poet to produce more than one poem. So we received 40 poems and we had 33 poets. Now, I didn't even know we had that many poetic talents within our community. And that's just to say that that was to the deadline when people began to hear about it and the word spread. People after the deadline were messaging and calling up, emailing, wanting to send off their poem saying, I want to be part of this. And of course, it's not the first nor the last. It is the first, sorry, but it's not the last. And so we said the best way of judging this would be not to judge the way we've always judged poetry, but to use the methods that they use within this country to judge poetry. And so we set about doing 3 different categories of scoring. And we also chose judges who we thought were very suitable for the purpose of judging such poetry. And so we have the first judge, who is Ayatollah Dr. Sayyid Fadl al-Minani, Dean of International Colleges for Islamic Studies in London. Sheikh Mohamed al-Hilli, internationally renowned Islamic speaker and professional pharmacist. And Maryam Mahir, linguist and author. Now, as you can see, there is a bit of range of background, skill sets, and of course, different genders. This is just the beginning of moving together as a community and unlocking these talents. And the first category, of course, is moving forward within eloquence. The second category is authentic descriptions of Imam Hussain. It's time we began to know the story better than we've ever known it. And the third, and I believe probably the most important because it's the one that we can reach out with, and that's relating it to contemporary challenges, modern challenges in this day and age. Because the message of Imam Hussain was a very long time ago. But to show that it's endless, we have to appeal it to the world. We have to show it. And so out of these three different categories, you get a score out of 10 and a total score out of 30. And so, of course, it was very competitive. It was the first time to see such talent, and yes, talent there was. And all the poems were very close, and they matched the criteria. Of course, matching the criteria meant that you do really have to match all three categories. Otherwise, you were just describing the story. And you weren't meeting the challenges of this day and age, nor were you eloquent. And of course, vice versa. And so from the 33, we shortlisted 14 poets. These 14 poets are here today. They are here before you. And we have 3 prizes, the first, second, and third, of which the first is a £300 prize, the second a £200 prize, and the third a £100 prize. And because of the competitive nature of the talent, we decided to produce a 4th prize. And we said that 4th prize should be chosen by you. You should have a chance to hear the talent and decide for yourselves, just in case you think the judges were not good enough to judge. So what we're going to do is we're going to split the program into 2. We have shortlisted the first 8 who will be reciting first to be part of the runners-up prize. Those 8 will stand here and will have 5 minutes to recite to you, and there will be a break at, we said 8:10. 8:10 the program will have a break for refreshments, and in that time you will each have a scorecard in your hand. You will fill it out and you will give it at the back. These scores will be counted, and you, the people, will choose a runners-up prize. After the break, we come back to a set of 6 poems, 6 poets who will be producing and presenting their poems in front of you. From those 6 poems, already has been chosen a first, second, and a third prize. We'll start with Mohamed Kazim then. But before that, I just want to introduce Mohamed Kazim with one of the lines of his poetry. In his poem, Always Remember Hussain, he took a line that struck me. It says, "O Hussain, you started the everlasting journey that is present to this day. Ripples in our hearts, you have left us to portray a message of love, peace, and unity spread through the length of eternity." Now, I chose this because it's one of the many messages that Imam Hussain brought forward, and you'll see that each poet has brought in their own messages that they've taken from Imam Hussain, and that is the beauty of his message, is that it really is endless in its principles and concepts. So please welcome him with a loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Assalamu alaikum. We head for the future every day, not realizing that we're going astray, leading to our own suffering and decay. I want to portray to you a man who has stolen my heart and left it into 2 pieces torn apart. Remembering his name refrains me from mischief and deceit. This man was Hussain. On the plains of Karbala, you motioned an unstoppable notion of love and tranquility. By doing this, you increased our fertility to follow our own righteous ability. My master, they cast me out as a polytheist and framed me with hate. Don't they know that you are one of the 12 gates in which we can enter our own spiritual fates? To whom your love cannot transpire is to whom Allah has sealed, and on the day of reckoning they shall plead before your presence because they failed to sense your essence. O Hussain, you leave me crying, but at the same time lead me flying towards Allah, the message you were supplying. How I wish I was present on the plains of Karbala when you cried out your misery. None responded sufficiently, nor lent a helping hand. All fought by your side viciously. Only the chosen few who helped you out with your caravan of love. How lucky were those few that were freed like caged-in doves. To serve your purpose, O Hussein, is the greatest victory. Not because of honor, but because you served the greatest misery. Always remember Hussein when drinking water. As today, Hussein was deprived of water, taken to the slaughter, decapitated, and then shown to his own daughter. While the tyrants laughed at the little girl's confusion, angels dropped down tears of mass fusion. Delusion is the end consequence of shimmer. And what a shameful, disgraceful, and hateful act. But it's no surprise, as he made a pact. To destroy something as pure as Hussein is to destroy the very meaning of your creation, leading him into lustful temptation. What Hussein taught the world is love through sacrifice, a sacrifice that would go beyond the realms of this plane, not because of his death, but because of the way he was slain. It will remain in our hearts engraved, and we shall forever be enslaved to his remorseful heart full of pain that has since then vibrated to our own spiritual gain. Writing these poems for you, O Hussein, I began crying, for you left a mark that went deep and replenished my corrupt heart from dying. There's no denying the essence of your love, O Hussein. You set hearts aflame and you set them flying. The vibration of your everlasting love has reached me to this day, and to the whole world it shall soon portray. Thirsty was you for love, not for water, O Hussein, when you gave your last amount of water to your enemy's horses, in the hope that they change into positive forces. The everlasting journey you started, O Hussein, gives us the faith to finish our righteous destiny, and to fight with hope side by side as your brother Abbas did by yours. You have surpassed all the glory of the seven skies and reached a position that even the angels haven't risen, all because of the love of the religion of your Lord. Sacrificed everything dear without any fear, tears flowing out your eyes, leading your enemies into demise. Clenching my fists when I hear your calamities, the blood of al-Asghar rolling down my cheeks. I'll feel your pain, O Hussein, but I cannot restrain my body from the feeling you give me. It's like a painful healing mending my crooked heart that leaves my body torn apart. Frustrated, your vibration leaves me as I cannot offer you help. So I'll beat my chest till it's black and blue, because that is the least I can do for you. Salawat.
And for that, can we have another loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad? There you go, he's just exposed the beginning of the poetic talent within our community. That was an excellent, very beautifully written poem. Well done for that. Our next reciter is Zahra Ali, and she has written a poem called Master Hussein. So I'm just going to read quickly a bit of her poem. One came towards you, sorrowful of igniting your pain, but upon the repentances you sent water of mercy to rain. The fragrance of forgiveness was spread through the air, giving the hard-hearted a chance to turn if they willed for repair. Thank you for showing us how to accept forgiveness, just as your brother Hassan did. I picked that specifically because, and again, another element was introduced into the life of Imam Hussain. It was showing that at any point you can return. And the poet will now come and they will introduce you to the further concepts. But the other point that I used it was because the mention of Imam Hassan and the beauty that they came together, that they were always joined hip by hip, and sometimes I feel he's a bit forgotten, but it's beautifully been brought back. Thank you very much for that. And can we please welcome her with a loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Assalamu alaikum. Master Hussain, let me ask you why you died for humanity on the 10th of Muharram. Master Hussain, let me ask you, why did you forsake artillery on the plains of Karbala? Master Hussain, let me ask you, why did you not surrender to allow your life to be saved? Master Hussain, let me ask you why you forgave those who willed against you. Master Hussain, let me ask why you died in prostration. Your army consisted of 72 faithfuls, but foes were many more. Opponents of truth were vicious and brutal, but towards violence you only ignore. 3 days deprived of water, yet thirsty were you for justice and peace. Standing at the front line against tyranny, knowing that the love from Allah would only increase. Thank you for showing us how to stand together against oppression, just as you did. All eager to fight against you with artillery, but your path was only a peaceful way, standing strong with your endeavor to banish violence far, far away. Glowing with truth and illuminating kindness and equality, and endured the greatest level of brutality and harshness to save humanity. Thank you for teaching me Islam is justice and peace, just as your grandfather, Mohamed, did. Choice was given to surrender to inequity, your life would have been saved. But into the heart of Islam you have engraved selflessness and patience, and shown that Allah created us free beings. No slave was you to this world, only listening to Allah's callings. Thank you for showing us our potential to love as free souls, just as your mother Fatemah did. Your importance was on thankfulness and set Allah as your only direction. Your life sends a message to the nation to improve ourselves and aim for moral perfection. Your last moments were spent with your head bowed low. From your blood, only love would flow. Thank you for showing us how to die thankfully in prostration, just as your father, Ali, did. Salawat.
Muhammad. Thank you very much for that. Please give her another loud salat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. It was very inspirational. Thank you very much for that. It reminded us that we have so much potential, that we can reach that potential if we just continue going forward. The next poet is Fatemah al-Hassani. In her poem, she says, in her poem, which is Imam Hussain, our motivation, our inspiration. In Hussein's final words, we come to understand. Oppressors rule the lands, until united we stand. That's a message for everyone. In all the tyranny that's going on today, all the oppressors, we have to come together and show our united stand. Otherwise, these oppressors will not fall. And so I welcome her to the stage to come and present her poem. With a salat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
And I begin in Allah's name, from Him we came. Imam Hussain, our motivation, our inspiration. Alayka minni salam Allah ya Hussain. Hussein's story like no other, in our hearts to remain. For in the thick of tragedy, Hussain upheld the highest morality. Hussain, chosen by God, to shine the light of justice in God's domain. To protect the Quran from the wrong claim, yet the enemies greedy to gain would detain the souls that by Allah would remain. Them they tortured, murdered for worldly claim, whilst the people would remain silently in shame, leading to widespread ignorance, not knowing who to blame. Yet until the truth we obtain, until then the tyrants will falsely claim, and in chaos causing the world to remain, wondering still why we're still in pain. Yet by Allah the world will come to know Hussain, by God the truth will come to the domain, and still the spirit of Hussain lives, calling us again, annulling and veiling their false claims, revealing their devious power-hungry games, while still remains widespread delusion and confusion. For Sufyani Yazid line leads many to the wrong conclusion. For today too the call of hate they renew. For today too many tragedies anew. Yet until we stand by God's true commands, only then can victory stand, together united with every hand. Just as Hussain and his loved ones gave their lives to awaken, to advise, so we may appreciate the grace of God. So we may appreciate the grace of God without whom has hit us hard, making it crystal clear, leaving no doubt, leaving no fear. Hussein's advice we can still hear, for tyranny will never end until the truth we defend. In Hussein's final words we come to understand, oppressors rule the lands until united we stand. The truth will unfold, Hussein's principles to uphold. From Allah the motivation, through Allah the inspiration. Thus Allah's promise to Hussein has come true. When Allah says, remember me, I will remember you. For in the thick of tragedy, Hussein displayed the highest morality. Hussein's stand is the light that brings the truth in sight about what's wrong and what's right. A sacrifice that awakens reality. Justice, you will see, will be the call of humanity. Against oppression stood up sons of Rasulullah, with the truth to know who are. Hussein's humility and simplicity, Hussein's morality and spirit of clarity will awaken the soul of humanity through motivation from inspiration to stand against tyranny's insanity that allowed the reign of calamity for the loss of humanity's morality. In the end, all will come to see the call of Hussein's final words to be, never will we be free unless unites humanity. Never will we be free unless unites humanity. And finally, Allah left us with His holy book, from which Hussein lived and with his all took. So reflect in Allah's words and see, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, in the name of Allah, the most kind, the most merciful. By time, surely man is in a state of loss, except those who believe and do good works, and join together in truth, and join together in patience. We belong to Allah, we end in Allah's name, the reality to gain from Allah's chosen terrain, motivation, inspiration from Imam Hussain. Alayka minni salam Allah ya Hussain. Salawat.
Center aloud salawat, please. Sometimes what's amazing about poetry is you're able to express things that you aren't normally able to express. It's amazing. She was able to bring out her emotions in a way that maybe you're not able to express when you're just talking. It has to come out in language sometimes. And it was so beautifully said. And I think give her another loud salawat for that. Our next poet is Sakina Ali, and she wrote a poem called A Very Great Man. They sacrificed all for a greater cause. This wasn't done to gain applause, but show societies that they can change. Love and friendship we can all exchange. These poems have been written with touches with love and friendship messages coming out, and even in the previous one you notice that Quranic references were coming out, which means that the things that are being said aren't just always from the heart, but the things that are there available, they are facts, but they're being presented in poetry, which to me is incredible, and I'm sure to you as well. And I'd like to bring out the next poet, please. So please can you welcome with a loud salawat ala Mohamed wa ali Mohamed.
Assalamu alaikum. This poem is about a very great man. Let me tell you how it all began. On the plains of the battlefield, where all their hearts were unconcealed, came a very evil army to fight, not just in the day, but also the night. He fought for Islam, our very amazing Imam. He has taught us all so much, our hearts he did all touch. We must strive to be like him and his family. There are very important messages behind it all. Justice is just one of them all. They won not only because truth overcame falsehood, but because good overcame evil. This teaches us about justice overcoming oppression. It was a very great succession. They sacrificed all for a greater cause. This wasn't done to gain applause, but shows societies that they can change. Love and friendship we can all exchange. Compassion is a very dear value and moral. He taught us to never quarrel. We must create peace in each other's hearts. This truly is an amazing piece of art. It's about time we all embrace these messages and use them to our full advantages. Life is only very short, so we should give love and support. We need to follow the teachings the Imam left behind, not just one person, but the whole of mankind. My poem does not end here, but is a message to be spread and understood everywhere. Salawat.
Thank you very much for that. Please give her a loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali. I think the most special thing for me about these kind of competitions is always, and just even when commemorating Imam Hussain and spreading the message, is what you see is the amazing kind of spectrum of different backgrounds and ages, and it really is quite a beautiful thing, because you begin to realize that it really isn't for you personally. You take him on as yours, but he really is for the rest of the world. It isn't specific to one country or one race, but he's specific to the principles of humanity and the ones that Islam brought forward. I'm going to introduce the next poet, but she's not here. Please welcome Brother Ridha with a loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
I do hope I can give this poem justice. She's not present here, is she? She's not present. Sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So the poem, again, as Brother Hussain said, is written by Fatemah Ali, and it's titled The Gift. I rise from prostration, catch a whiff of the holy soil of paradise. Oh, the stories it whispers, tugging at the tongue of my tongue. I stand after prayer and salute him whose blood was spilt on that soil. The land that didn't want to take it, the skies that couldn't bear it, the blood of the family of the Prophet, the blood of the family of the Prophet that had nowhere to go. Assalamu alayka, peace be upon you, O Aba Abdullah al-Hussein. I salute your strength and your patience that knows no bounds and only gain. They ask us why we salute the Prophet's grandson after prayer. Ask them how it survived. Kindly offer them some water. Tell them about the gift, saving the true prostration for us, thinking of you and me years down the line, knowing the sweetness that prayer can bring, the peace in our hearts of millions, his mission, the survival of the message, the power of prayer, the key to our every quandary, the discipline of worship, the essence of religion, and the purpose of our insignificant existence. Who would be without his sacrifice? He lifted us, gifted us before we were born. Hussein, leader of the youth of paradise, where all the dwellers be youth, O Hussein. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Ahsanti Fatemah Ali and Brother Rizal. Thank you very much for that. Just to remind everyone that you can use the booklets to read the poem and follow the poems that are being recited, just in case you haven't followed already. The next poet is not in the country as well. ZAHRA FATLAWI, who will be enacted again by Brother Rizal Khazraji. Oh, sorry, her sister will read it. So I'm just going to introduce her with the loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Assalamu alaikum. "1,400 years ago, on the plains of Karbala, a tyrant, a hypocrite, an oppressor by the name of Yazid ibn Muawiyah declared an unjust, merciless war on Hussein alayhi salam. But who is Hussein? It is he who inspired Gandhi and the likes, the legend whose name in our heart resides, son of the noble Fatemah and Ali, the grandchild of Mohamed, our virtuous Nabi, On the 10th of Muharram, he stood up in battle, not for worldly desires, not for power nor fame. Thirsty he fought against injustice and corruption, and to free Islam from immoral shame. Tents were looted and set on fire, and orphans were left chained in despair. Women were tortured and paraded to Sham, all on the journey they couldn't spare. But with words so eloquent, so powerful indeed, a woman of courage, Zainab the lead. Given the mission of spreading the message, she stood up bravely in the face of Yazid. Condolences to our Prophet on this tragic day, for on the plains of Karbala his grandson lay. Beheaded, brutally murdered, what more can I say? To ensure the true legacy is here to stay, upholding the values of dignity and honor by sacrificing his life all the way. Today around the world we see nations demanding to rise and be free. Bahrain, Libya, Egypt, Iraq, all chanting for basic liberty. Challenging tyrant rulers again and speaking out for democracy. But don't you give up hope in Allah, for no nation has come without a trial. So when you are tested with hunger, with loss, decide what you stand for and make it worthwhile. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Thank you very much for that. Please sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. What I loved about that one, the contemporary challenges mixed with the message of Imam Hussain, which is what was asked for. Brought in Bahrain, Syria, Egypt, the uprisings. That's what was needed. That was the kind of poem that presented all fronts and brought forward the message that we have today. And for that, please, sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. And I'll touch on another point as well, the other contemporary point that was brought in about how Gandhi learnt from Imam Hussain, and how 1,400 years later Obama learns from Gandhi, and Gandhi was inspired by Imam Hussain, and that the bells of the Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam still rings today in this day and age. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Now the last of our 8, actually not the last of our 8, we still have SHUJA Hussain. The penultimate, Nina Sa'di, I am a Hussaini. Through this stand you inspired people from across the world to have courage. They learnt that they could achieve victory under oppression. This is what your story did encourage. Again, bringing in the contemporary need that we have of relating the message of Imam Hussain with our contemporary world. So can I please introduce Allah Salat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Assalamu alaikum. I am a Hussaini, oh yes I am. Man, I even attend lectures in Muharram. I wear black top to toe, go to the mosque and do latam with my bros. Wait, who is Hussain? Is that what you asked? He's a man, a sick bro from the past. Died and all, apparently for Islam. Come on man, Hussain's the real man. But now you've got me thinking, who is Hussain? He died years ago, but clearly not in vain. Now a year on, Muharram comes again, and I know a bit more about you, Ya Hussain. Your father was Ali, son of Fatemah, grandson of Mohamed. You took a stand and ensured that the message of Allah would never be dead. You bravely entered a battle, knowing you'd be left on the sands, yet you didn't care about the numbers, 72 versus tens of thousands, because you knew Allah has the upper hand. A part of me used to wonder why you did it. See, you knew you'd lose, so why'd you go through with it? But now I realize that you may have died, but lose you did not. You didn't want to live in humiliation, and a death with dignity is what you got. You did what you did out of love for Allah. You stood up for His words against those kuffar. You fought in a battle all out with no regrets. And it's your stand for humanity which we will never forget. Through this stand, you inspired people from across the world to have courage. They learned that they could achieve victory under oppression. That's what your story did encourage. Today, 1400 years later, your name, Ya Hussain, lights the streets of London, Holland, Iraq and Bahrain. And this love for you, O Hussain, for years more it will last.
because they will never be able to extinguish the fire that burns for you in our hearts. O Hussein, how you epitomize valor, bravery, and beautiful akhlaq. You even stood and prayed for your enemy for their mistakes, you were sad. O grandson of the Prophet, O son of Ali, in your footsteps I will try to follow, and then hopefully one day I will be able to say that I am a true Husseini. Salawat.
She does latum with her bros. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Very contemporary, very beautifully written. The last of the participants of the 8 that we've put forward and shortlisted here is Shuja Hussain. I am a lady of modest attire, and I picked out a line specifically because it's to do with how time for you is finite. It says, time waits for no soul, young, old, black or white, angel of death could come knocking at any time. Brother Khazraji, can I please ask you to come forward with a loud salat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Again, this is not my own poem. This is brother Shuja Hussain, titled I am the lady of modest attire. I am a lady of modest attire, whose heart burns with raging fire. I am the mother of Hassan and Hussein, once poisoned, the other was slain. My father was Prophet Mohamed. He died leaving me sad. After his death, the Muslims went cold-blooded and bad. The messenger's family was imprisoned, tortured and killed. What were our crimes? What was fulfilled? Our first Imam Ali was murdered with a poisoned sword as he lay in sajda to Allah, our Lord. Tragedy of Karbala was a lesson for mankind to learn, to fight against every Yazid at every turn. Yazidi Islam was to drink, gamble and commit open sin. Whose ways are you following? Forgotten Zain al-Abidin, Sajjad shed tears blooded red. To save Islam, Hussein gave his head. All the Imams preached Salat. So Ummah of Rasul, why neglect your wajibat? Why neglect your wajibat? In Muharram you cry for Zainab's grief. As you cover your heads for a brief, you send curses to Shimmer of all that he did, but then expose your true colors and reveal all that you hid. Making a mockery of hijab, have you no shame? Sisters in Iman, Islam is no game. They gave us Surah An-Nisa for guidance as beacons of light, but still kuffar systems confuse you, believing wrong is right. This fashion world is just a stepping stone for all to one day leave. So it is not better now you repent your sins, practice and believe. Bollywood films are satanic, that destroys Islamic ideology by day. These are otherworldly extractions, lead you astray. Time waits for no soul, young, old, black or white. Angel of death could come knocking any time. So fear Allah might, so fear Allah's might. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
That was an interestingly powerful poem. I wonder if, sorry? Not by Brother Khazraji. He isn't telling you to stop watching Bollywood films. But for that poem, please sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Now, I told you that the competition encouraged all kinds of people, all kinds of ages, all kinds of backgrounds, and out of the 33 participants, the youngest of them was 9 years old. We have this young brother with us here today. His name is Murtaja, and he's going to come up and he's going to proudly present his poem. So please encourage him with a loud salat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Ya Hussein, O son of Fatemah and Ali, the hero of Islam, born on the 3rd of Sha'ban, let us return to the day of Ashura, the land of Karbala. The day you were slaughtered without a drop of water, you left us mourning day and night with Sayyidah Zainab and your daughter, blood pouring down like rain. leaving us all here in pain. Your name is engraved in our hearts, for it will never depart. O Hussein, we will follow you with all our hearts, even until we are left with no body parts. Hussein minni wa ana min Hussein. You are never to be forgotten. From you we have so much to learn and gain. Ya Hussein, protect me and guide me.
I'm not that much taller than him, so I might as well just keep it here. He's 9 years old and he has talent like that. You know, it's amazing, and I think he's really shown us all up. And please just encourage him again with al-Salat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Zahira, I think you have competition. We're now gonna take a break. But before we take a break, I need to remind you that you each have a voting card, for those of you who arrived on time, of course. Make sure you vote, and a volunteer will come and collect it from you. And this will be for the 4th prize from the poems that you have just heard. So we'll take a break now with a Salat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.